Hello my friends, thanks for stopping by. I hope you're all having a great day. Today I thought I would do another tutorial for you, only this time I decided to lean towards the pinks for all of my pink girls out there, because most of my tutorials, yes, are with peach, red browns, colors that suit me, but always remember that no matter what I'm doing, what colors I'm using, you can always take the tips and techniques that come with my tutorials and use them with colors that suit you. But for today, this is a more pinky look with two palettes that I think many have, not all have. I did want to mention for the satin finish shadows that I use from VizArt are very expensive. But if you go and look at the L'Oreal Infallibles, the ones that come in the little tub that have that little top and they're more like a loose that are pressed into the container, they have a lot of colors that you could use in place of the VizArt. So don't give up. You too can achieve this look. All right? Stick around. All right, my friends, let's get started. Today I have already primed with a pore primer, and I use the Lancome Pro Pore Eraser. And I bought something the other day that I've not yet tried, and it is by HourGlass, and it's the Light Correcting Primer in Dim Light by HourGlass. So we're gonna go ahead and try this and see how it works. It comes out, it's in a tube. It comes out looking just like that. It has a little bit of a flesh tone to it, but not a lot. Of course, I didn't read the directions or anything like that if it's supposed to be on a certain way. But I just thought we would try it, and I'm always looking for a little bit of glow. And sometimes in today's market, there are so many, I dropped my towel, hang on. There are so many matte type foundations that don't always play well with dry skin. So I like to add a little bit underneath. So we are going to try this and see how it looks. I'm also trying a new foundation today. Well, it's new in my grocery store. It may be around. It is the Almay, and it is, let me get to my little, I should keep this closer, my friends. It is the Light Medium Warm 140 Almay Age Essential Makeup Multi-Benefit Anti-Aging, SPF of 15. So I thought we would go ahead and give it a try. I'm not sure on the color because, of course, in the grocery store, we cannot try them out that way. So I'm just going to put some of it on the back of my hand. The color looks okay. It's not looking too bad. You know, I go for the golden, more yellow tones because of my skin versus the pink. And sometimes neutrals I can play with, but even the neutrals will get a little too pinky on me. So we will go ahead, and I'm going to use my beauty blender because that is my preferred method. However, the Marc Jacobs foundation, let me do one side with the Marc Jacob and the other side. I'll use the Marc Jacob, the Face 1 brush, because I haven't used that one on camera yet, I don't think. And then I'm going to use my beauty blender on the other side, and we'll see which one we like, okay? So I think the color is pretty darn good for just selecting it in the grocery store. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pounce our beauty blender all around and see what we get out of this. I'm going to do half my face this way just to see. It looks pretty nice. And then we will go ahead. They have a concealer that goes with this too, but I'm not going to use it today because I want the look to be pretty decent. I have to run some errands. All right, so not bad. It's not a bad finish. The coverage is pretty good, and I'll bet you can build it up. So let's go ahead and try it with the Marc Jacob, the Face 1 brush. And I'm gonna do a little pouncing action because even with brushes, I like to pounce first. And we'll see what kind of look we get. And then I'm gonna take a look at my little mirror on the side here and see which one I like better. I think I'm going to end up liking the beauty blender with it better. Okay, so that is the beauty blender and that is the brush. Let me take a look in my mirror. Yes, I like the beauty blender, so I'm going to go ahead and just pounce all the way around now. I need to put a little bit more on because the brush actually thinned it out more. So we're just going to put a touch more on with the beauty blender in the areas that I need it most. And most people will need their foundation most in their T-zone area. but that's not to say that's written in stone. It could be something else. All right, I gotta go over these blue lips because if I don't, they're gonna change my lipstick. Today's look, as you saw, I'm doing this for all my pink girls. It's very rare that I wear a lot of pinks. I do wear them from time to time, but my preferred colors are, of course, the peach tones. But I realize that not everybody in the world is a peachy tone girl. All right, so there's our foundation. Not bad so far. Color is okay for summer. Probably could warm it up a little bit, you know, bring out a little more of the golden tones, but that's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to stick with the same old concealer. You know, someone made a comment in one of my videos, and I think it is true. When you see someone using something over and over and over again, instead of always trying to bring you the greatest and the latest, or the latest and the greatest, it lets you know that they really love something. And I do love this Naked Skin concealer. Although in skincare, you know, I'm very different. I gotta try the latest and the greatest. But with makeup, I'm a creature of habit. But I do try to pick up on new things so that I have something to share with all of you. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use my favorite brush, but I thought I'd use my Marc Jacob concealer, the concealer brush on one side and this one so you can see the difference. So this one is it's an easy application. You just pump, 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 and you are pretty much done. You can get up underneath there. They are cheap brushes. Okay, easily fixed with crazy glue. Okay, so we're just gonna go like that. The brush may be made cheap, but there's something so magical about this for my under eyes. I just love it. Okay, so there we go on that. Gonna use my Marc Jacob. And this one here, you have to go in little smaller. This one doesn't take as much off of the concealer, but it is a beautiful concealing brush. It really is. I mean, you just lightly feather along and it just blends everything beautifully. Beautifully, okay? I'm not gonna bother with the bags. I can't do anything about them. The bags are the bags, you know? They're just gonna have to, I could go ahead and put some highlight there to push that out, but we're just gonna leave it alone. Oh, I forgot to do the top of my lids, so let me do the top of my lids just a little bit. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing we did in the last video. I'm going to bake my under eye. I'm going to use the Wayne Goss No. 2 brush so that you can see how beautiful that works. I had many people ask me how the Secret Brightening Powder is different. The Secret Brightening Powder actually does have some, I thought I had mine right here, but I don't. It does have a little bit of sheen to it. So you really, I mean, if you want to brighten your under eye area, that's okay. But as an aging woman trying to conceal lines and wrinkles, it may help to accentuate. I do have the brightening powder from time to time. I have used it, and every time I use it, I take a look at myself and say, what were you thinking? So my preference is the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I also got asked, why don't you use the Laura Mercier, I mean not the Laura, the La Mer underneath your eyes? And that is for the same reason. There is the slightest hint of satin finish to the La Mer, which I will say most places are sold out. Last night I ordered another one. I love it so much, from La Mer themselves, okay? So if you want some, check out there. Anyway, same thing, you're gonna have to really tap out all the creases that have already formed. Then you're gonna take your brush and you're just gonna roll it in some of that concealer. You can use the Beauty Blender like I did in the last video. We're gonna go ahead, just tap it out, and I'm going to place that powder all underneath, and I'm just gonna leave it be. I'm not going to do anything else with it. I'm just going to let it sit. Same thing on the other side. The most important thing about this is this right here. It's just tapping out to make sure there's no creases already started, because then you're just going to powder them right into place. And then just go ahead and pack some of it on and just leave it be. Don't do anything else with it. So that is baking our under eyes. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the Stay Don't Stray. First time I used this was the other day, and well, it's been about a week I've had it. I really like it. I do need to use a little bit more of this to really camouflage out the blueness or the darkness of my eyes, but it really, my shadows stay nicely. So that is a bonus. So I put a pretty good amount on, and I'm just going to go ahead and tap that in. I don't really want to rub it too much, but I do want to make sure that it's blended. And we're going to put a little bit of powder over this just to help set it and give you a nice smooth canvas when you start to put those eyeshadows on. And I'm going to go ahead and powder it already while I have it creaseless. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Take some of the Mercier and just pack it on there. You just see how smooth it makes it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. With the eyes, you don't bake it. You just lightly pat it on and then brush it off. With the lids, you don't need to bake that on. You're giving yourself a beautiful canvas to work with. So what are we going to do here today? I'm not quite sure. Okay, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Let me powder my face first before we do anything. And of course, I'm using the La Mer. Oops, too much. I just love this powder, my friends, love it. All right, so I'm just playing around, putting some in the Real Technique powder brush, and I'm going to pack it on my face, push it in. I don't rub it, I push. Again, I don't know how any of this stuff is going to play with this Almay foundation, so we will be finding out together. And hopefully it will play well. I think the color is pretty darn good though. Okay, so there we go with that. And I'm going to go ahead and do my eyes today. I know the other day, the last tutorial, I think I did my bronzer and everything first. So we're going to start with my eyes. So the first color I'm going to use is going to be from the Tartelette in Bloom. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use Flower Child. Flower Child is not necessarily really pink, but I'm just going to use this as a base from my lid all the way down to my crease. Just a little bit of it. We don't need a lot. You don't want to really, we're just giving ourselves a little bit of a guideline here and giving us a polished look in that area. Okay? But here is where we will make a difference now. And I thought, well, you saw in the beginning, this is going to be a pink version of the bronze peach version I did. So I'm going to go ahead and use Sweetheart, which is definitely a pinky tone here. And I'm going to go in with a, oops, I dropped one. I'm going to go in with a MAC 217. I'm going to pick up that Tarte Sweetheart. I don't even know what this color is going to look like on me. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start defining out my crease. And I may play with this look a little bit from the other day, but I always start my looks by applying a transition color, and I really build that crease up in the eye area. This is not a bad color. This is pretty nice, okay? It is a muted rose almost. I was going to use some Anastasia shadows, but I decided against it because I think a lot of people have this palette and the next palette I'm going to use. Unfortunately, I could not get the look I was going for with just one palette, but you most certainly can, because there are a few shimmers in here, but it will not be as pink. Okay, so, ooh, I inhaled that. All right, so I just started a little guideline there for the eye, and I want to build it up just a little bit more. And you can always build up. That's why I don't mind taking a little bit and just working in layers. It works best on the eye if you just layer things and you don't get ahead of yourself that way. All right, and thank you to all of you who leave such wonderful comments under my tutorials. I really try to focus just on technique, not necessarily trends. You know, I can't wear a lot of trends. I'm past that age, and I'm not saying that some of you couldn't wear that trend, and if you want to, then you should. But for me, it just doesn't work. So I'm just trying to keep my makeup looking nice with all the changes that go on our face. Okay, so we have both eyes done, and I have just contoured both of them with the Sweetheart from this palette. So now what I'm going to do, unfortunately I have to incorporate another color into this, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take, by Anastasia, this is the Dusty Rose, and that's what it looks like. It's going to be very similar, but it just has a little bit more warmth to it. And I'm just going to really contour the outer corner here with it a little bit. You can see as I'm doing it where I'm actually placing it. I won't blend it in until you really get a good look-see. Okay? So again, on this side, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to place it in the outer corner. Same thing. Okay. That was the Dusty Rose by Anastasia. Whatever. From the Sultry Muse from Vissart, I'm going to use this color here, right here, and then I'm going to use this color here. They are both in the pink family, and that's what they look like. One is a very light, one is a warmer. So I'm going to start with the light first, and I'm going to use my fingers in the same way I did with the golds, and I'm going to tap that on the lower half of my lid. And it's going to be a very rosy pink look for me. I can't go white pink, but I think this is a beautiful rosy bronzed look. Very, very pretty. So we're going to do the same thing on the other eye. And you know, I don't know if it's my imagination, but I feel that the Sultry Muse go on easier than the Paris Nudes. And that's so weird because they're the same company, but you can see I'm just putting small amounts and it's so much more concentrated. The color, the saturation of the color is so much better. Okay? And again, these are satin shades, very doable for an aging eye if you put a little bit of matte. All right, so you see how beautiful that shadow is. It's just gorgeous. We've done no blending yet. So now I'm going to take the warmer of the color, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place that in the outer corner just to give a little bit of depth out there. Just the corner a little bit. You don't want to bring it in too far. Okay. So that is what it would look like before you start to blend. Then I'm going to take my Bdellium. Let me use something different today, just so you know you don't have to buy all those fancy brushes or those hard to find ones. This is an e.l.f. blending brush, and I'm just going to take the edge. Now hold it back further. You don't want to rub this into a muddy mess. So you just want to lightly blend that matte and really soften that line where you first applied the crease color. You're not actually going into the crease, you're just going above where that line was a little, and you're just softening it. And just a small back and forth action is all you need. And you really, on the end, don't drag down, you know, sweep it up a little bit. There's not enough product to really go anywhere, so you're just giving it a nice flare up on the ends. So you're always lifting the eyes up. Okay, so now I'm going to take that same brush and I'm going to hold it really back, and I'm just going to lightly blend. I'm not really going on the lid. I'm trying to get in the crease with this, and I'm just going to blend those colors so that they just filter or flow a little bit into the matte color. All right, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of the brush. I'm not placing this whole brush on, and I'm just going to lightly blend that outer corner, just lightly. Okay? Okay, so the eyes are blended down a little bit. Now you can take your powder brush, and you'll see there was a lot of fallout. I must say that Tartelette in Bloom has a lot of fallout. Not all the colors, but some of them do, and that rose definitely did. So now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to sweep all of that off. And it should leave behind no trace of any fallout because you had that powder laying there. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. And I just give it 2 sweeps and it should be done. All right, so now the upper part of your eyes are done, so we just want to do the lower part. And I'm going to go in, I want to give a little bit more definition than the tartlet color, and the fallout really disappointed me to that one color. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to take that rose color and I'm just going to take a very small brush, something that's a little dense, it doesn't matter, or you can use a dome brush. I'm looking for my brush while I talk to you. All right, I'm going to take a small dome brush, and this is a Pro Smoky Eyeliner. I don't know who it's by. Oh, it's by Sephora. Okay, and I'm going to go back in with that rose color. I'm just going to load up that brush with a little bit of the rose color. Tap it off because there is some fallout. I have my contacts. Let me get my little mirror. All right, so I'm going to take that dusty rose, and I'm just going to rim the lower part of my lashes, and I'm going to flare it up in the corner. I want to put some smokiness to this underneath the eye. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye. Of course I am. They need to match. Okay, so. All right, so I put this Dusty Rose from Anastasia under both of them. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to take a little bit of the deeper tone that I used in the outer part, right here, this one. And I'm just going to put a little bit of it on this brush. Now I'm not going to get crazy with this because I don't have the skin coloring for all this pink around. So I'm just going to go ahead and just lightly brush some of this right on the outer edge. Okay, so you see I just put a little bit of that rose under both of the eyes, only in the corner. Okay, so before I go off camera and do my tight lining, my mascara, and my brows, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to contour a little. Now I am going to take the powder brush and I'm just going to lightly brush over my face to make sure that I don't have any fallout on it, and work from there. Go ahead and use my Nars today, my Laguna. I just love this. It's just so beautiful. I just love it. It makes me a happy girl to use this. All right, I'm going to use my MAC. This is the 135 by MAC, and there is the Laguna. I'm going to go ahead and just pick some of it up on the sides of the brush, tap it off, and I'm going to go ahead and just apply it right on my cheek, a little bit higher. I don't really bring it down low. It's just my preference. You can go all over your face if you want with your bronzer. It's up to you. And the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and just really... Now, if you're someone who has white hair or your grays are starting to grow, you do have to be careful that you're not putting your bronzer all over your hair. And if you do, at some point when you're done, just take a Q-tip or something and try to clean it up, because you don't want that to be showing. Again, I don't go in my temples. I go up high, but I do not go in my temples for this. And then I'm just going to lightly put some on and pack it, and I'm going to do my forehead only in the upper outer parts. I don't really go crazy with that either. Okay, you can use this as your contour or anything. I am going to go ahead. Okay, so as I was saying, I'm just contouring my jawline slightly. I go up over here and then I just filter and I lightly let the brush touch the upper part of the jawline, but I'm focusing most of it on the lower. Then you want to make sure that you're really softening that line on the edge, because you don't want anybody seeing that. And if you look, it just helps to sharpen the jawline. It's all smoke and mirrors, my friends. Smoke and mirrors. I mean, really, it takes a village. It takes more than a village. It takes all this makeup. How did Dolly Parton say it? Takes a whole lot of money to look this cheap, or something like that. I don't know. My brother loved her. My brother was security for her at one point, and just a little story to tell you along the way. And she wanted to go and buy some makeup, and my brother was taking her to the big fancy mall. She said, "Oh no, honey, you take me on over to the drugstore." She loves a drugstore, although I'm sure she has a lot of makeup from all over the place. All right, so we've got our bronzer. So I want to touch just a little bit of a pretty rosy blush on. I don't want to go bright pink, not for me. This is another way that you can wear pinks. Notice my pinks are a little bit on the rosy or the brickier side. They're not blue pinks because they would just totally work against me and they wouldn't compliment me. So my blushes has to be the same way. So I'm going to use a Chanel blush, and this one here is Rose Bronze. Again, I'm going to go ahead with the same brush I used yesterday. I like using this brush when I want just a touch of blush because it's such a soft brush and you can place it exactly where you want, where with my Bobbi Brown blush brush, which I do like, it tends to get a little much. So this one is a 137, and because Chanel does have a soft shimmer to it, again, I'm not going to be using a highlighter with this. And remember, I put that all over highlighter underneath. So I just kind of tap this brush on, and then I tap it off lightly, and then I will just place my blush on the higher part of my cheek. Oh, they smell so good. And really, you can see the difference just slightly. I don't put a lot of it on. To be honest with you, as an aging woman, I'm very afraid of the blush factor, you know? Because some of them, you know, when you start doing that ball right here, I don't think that compliments many of us. I mean, of course, if you have a very narrow face and you want to bring your face to the full side, you can do that. But for me, having a longer, more heart-shaped face, I really have to play up high so that I don't elongate my face any more than it is. So that is all I do. I just touch lightly. I think this has a very nice glow to it, this foundation and primer together. So that is it. Again, another nice thing you can do, and again, this has to be with a very light hand. Tap lightly into your blush. Really get the most of it off and just lightly brush over your eyes, and it just kind of marries everything together with your blush and your eyes. Just a little tidbit. All right, so I am going to wear today, I thought I would go pink with the lippies, and of course I will be back to do, once I do my lips, I'll come back and have my hair all done and my mascara and everything will be done. So the whole look will fall together. But I'm going to go ahead and use Spanish Pink by Tom Ford. You can use any pink you want for this. And I'm going to go ahead and use the soft Cammeo, which lends itself to pink, which I don't normally do with my pink lips because it tends to get too pink on me. But for my pink girls, I thought I would stay true to their coloring instead of my own. I would put a nude with this, or even a brownie nude or a brownie pink with this. But this one's not too bad. So we're going to go ahead. This is Gucci Soft Cammeo. So I went ahead and I filled in the corners just to give myself that pouty look, or what do they call it, ombre? Well, this is the old lady ombre style, okay? Because I can't put all those lipsticks on and make them all blend together, because there comes a time when we have to give up something. You don't have to, but if you want your skin to really respond and your makeup to look fresh, we have to realize that we can't pack on all that makeup. So again, Spanish Pink, incredible color. And like I said, I kept it with a nice pinky rose liner. To keep its true color of pink. Okay, now I'm going to go off camera and I am going to tight line, and I'm going to do my mascara and my eyebrows. It's just easier off camera. And also, many people say, do you ever wear liner? Very rare during the day, and when I am wearing a liner, I don't ever wear it all the way across. I feel it closes my eye off. I think it makes me look harder. And you know, there's a balance you have to find. I have a lot of hair, I'm tall, and you know, I have a full mouth, and I think that to have, you know, a line, this and that, it takes it to a different level for me. And you know, I'm all about the, I don't know, I like a very soft feminine look for my own face. Other people, I think they look great, and I don't really care what anybody else does. If they like what they like, that's more power to them. But for me, I like the soft feminine look that lends itself slightly still to sexy. Because you know, even at almost 60 years old, we gotta be sexy mamas too. All right, my friends, here's the finished look. I took my hair out of the rollers, I put some clothes on, and I did use, as I mentioned, I tight lined with my Nars via Apia pencil. You could use black, you could use a different brown, you could even use a plummier tone if you like, but make sure the plum tone stays into the deeper area so that you get that depth along the eyelash line. And for mascara, I tried one that one of you mentioned to me, the Almay One Coat Thickening Mascara. I also did buy the other of that. I did not know which one it was. I hope I got the right one. Oh well, there is another one and I don't know where it went in my little mess here. But I did try it, and this is one coat, but I did put on a coat of my primer because I do love it. And for my brows, I used my Anastasia. Everything will be linked and listed below for you. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you got some tips from it, and I hope that you pink girls appreciated that I came to you and I did colors that really aren't fabulous for my, if I stay in the right tone of pink, I can get away with pinks. If these pinks were more blue or brighter, I'd look hideous. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave in the comments if you're going to try this, and if you are enjoying my tutorials, of course. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, because we are anti-aging here. We are not trying to not age. We are just trying to look our best. Go out in the world and be happy, healthy, beautiful, and most of all, my friends, lovable. I love you all. Bisous.